All right, guys, welcome back to our Jacksonville Jaguars rebuilding series. Today, boom, we're starting off with this wonderful still shot of our re-signed players list. Very exciting start to episode number 10. We're going to come off this for a moment. I'm doing commentary over this video, by the way, after the fact. So this is pre-recorded until, of course, the scouting part of our video kicks off in about 20 minutes. So here we go. First things first. Here we got our player negotiations. Boom. Starting here with DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware was my number one re-signing priority for this offseason. We have a lot of, and this is generally where our series is going. We got a lot of guys who were huge impact players for us last year and have been for a long time. And we got to lock them up in the next short while. I have some updates for that at the end of this video for guys who are on the squad, who have been re-upped. But it's definitely a time where this series is shifting. You know, the first 3 years of this campaign, or our time with this franchise, first three campaigns are really about getting the talent, getting necessary young players, developing them, bringing them along. And now that is completely shifting to the other side. Now it's about sustaining our roster. It's about keeping these guys in the system and finding a way to pay the guys. And for guys who want too much money, it's about finding a way to replace them. DeMarcus Ware wanted big money. Here you can see we made an offer to him, and that first offer was accepted. He is a very well-paid individual at this point. 2-year deal worth $20 million. Half of it is guaranteed. Big guaranteed money to an older player. However, when you have a chance to bring in DeMarcus Ware, a guy we got to bring in for free because he was cut by the Dallas Cowboys last year, you got to sign him, in my opinion. However, that meant that it would be very difficult to re-sign Michael Crabtree. Crabtree, also a guy we picked up for free last year, had a great season, just under 1,000 yards, despite some injury trouble. However, his demand of just over $9 million a season was not one we were willing to meet. We did not make him an offer. Likewise was the case with punter Brian Anger. Here you can see we're going to enter negotiations with him. He wanted as a punter $19.8 million over 6 seasons. That is a huge number for a punter. $3.5 million a season. We offered him what I thought was a good deal. $2.5 a season. Obviously not what he was looking for. And for that reason, he turned it down, was not willing to take it. So Anger and Crabtree set to leave. Speaking of guys asking for a lot of coin, again, we got to pick our battles at this point. We cannot afford to pay everyone on this team. We can't be afraid to lose good players because, heck, if we tried to pay them all, we're going to go over that salary cap. So Taylor Thompson, another guy who was looking for big coin. There you can see his demand. He wanted $5 million plus per season. He was not offered a contract either. It sucks for that to be the case, but, you know, 3 guys, Anger, Thompson, and Crabtree, all very talented, but again, just not guys we can afford to pay. We paid DeMarcus Ware. He was priority number 1. Those guys, we got to find a way to replace them, and I think we have. Looking back, Donald Butler here, he will accept this contract to stay on as the backup middle linebacker. Last season, he was the backup to 2 gentlemen, of course, our wonderful starter, Darrell Washington, and now retired Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis, by the way, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, came out of retirement to join us last year for a Super Bowl run, subsequently retired again at the age of 39. Not a shock. But Donald Butler, hey, great signing in my opinion. 4 years, $6.4 million. Let me know what you guys think. It's $1.5 million a season for a backup, essentially. And but I think it's necessary money. Washington has gotten hurt in the past. And, hey, we really benefited last year from having a great backup middle linebacker. And Donald Butler certainly capable of filling that role, especially for not a lot of coin. For a guy who's an 82 overall, not bad money to spend there. Andre Branch, meanwhile, re-signs 2 years, just north of $2 million. Just under $500,000 guaranteed. So not a lot of risk in that signing. Certainly not bad for a guy still just 27 years of age, 82 overall. Gotta love it. Here, we had an interesting decision to make in terms of our left tackle. That was actually, for me, what was the biggest linchpin of this entire offseason. What we were going to be doing with our left tackle situation. We'll get to that in a moment. I decided to re-sign Marcel Jones to a contract, which he ended up signing 2 years, $1.8 million, $400,000 guaranteed. This is a guy who's 27 years of age, 81 overall. I thought that was a very nice contract for him being a backup. Quickly, just to address what's on screen, Ace Sanders wants $3 million a season over 4 years. We were not willing to give him that. Sanders, I've always liked his game, but even without Crabtree, we are so deep at receiver, very difficult to legitimize giving him that amount of money. As you can see, we have cap room, but remember, for this upcoming season, we have to renegotiate with such players. Basically, all the guys who were rookies when we first started this, 3 years have come and gone. They're in the last year of their deals, so we need cap space to re-up some really big names. I'm talking about names like Jonathan Cyprin, the rookie sensation. I'm talking about Luke Jokel, Xavier Gooden, Jesse Williams. My goodness, huge names. We need to spare that money. Here you can see the list of free agents. I go over it really quickly. You can see some really flashy guys who are demanding some really flashy salaries. You can see the Russell Wilson, the big fish. He ended up getting $96 million over 6 years from the Seahawks. Staying in Seattle, but went to free agency just to drive up his price. There you can see we made offers in free agency to a couple guys. Neither of them ended up signing. Anger signed away to the Philadelphia Eagles. There you can see our three accepted offers. Ray Edwards, Antonio Gates, both under that category. The third one being Brandon Brooks, a backup right guard, who's going to be there to back up Brandon Mosley. The reason we needed him, and we'll get to that back in a moment. As you can see here, this is what's on screen here. You know how I said left tackle would be a linchpin for us. I looked to Wesley Woodyard is in his final year of the contract at the left outside linebacker spot. For that, I looked to at that position and the left tackle position for truly elite talent because we have so many draft picks to throw around. And I just showed you guys that. Looking at, I included this on the PDF. By the way, get the PDF. I think you guys know the routine by now. However, check that out. I have a list at the very bottom of guys I pursued hard at the left tackle spot, outside linebacker spot, including guys like Gerard Mayo, Von Miller. At the left tackle spot, guys like Joe Thomas, Jared Veltier, Matt Khalil, truly elite players who I was not able to get because, as you can see, 3 first-rounders, still not enough for Joe Thomas, just completely unwilling to negotiate at any level, were the Cleveland Browns. And so I then looked to wide receiver, trying to find someone who could replace Michael Crabtree. I decided that person was Randall Cobb, and we were able to trade for him for what I think was a steal of a deal, trading away Jason Slowey and William Campbell. Slowey and Campbell, both young still, both very talented interior linemen, but guys who weren't going to be starting for us, and their guaranteed money cost us just over $300,000 in cap penalties. Not a big number at all. Going to be a blip on the radar in the grand scheme of things. And a 4th rounder for Randall Cobb, 96 overall, 26 years old. The best part, his salary for the next 2 years, because the Packers ate some, costing us just $8 million combined for those 2 years. So averaging about a salary of $4 million per. Gotta love it. The next move we made, and I'll get back to the left tackle situation in a moment. Thaddeus Gibson, looking to move him. The Buccaneers are the team really looking for a left-end pass rusher, as you can see on the big board. We were eventually able to trade him away for a first-rounder from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We just had to throw in an extra low pick in there. Gibson, we had to eat $3 million on that deal, unfortunately. However, with us being able to re-sign DeMarcus Ware, with Earlzo Shorter coming in at the other spot, really into his zone, we want to make him a full-time starter, with Branch signing for such little money. And Ray Edwards, another talented pass rusher, a little older, 31 years old, but coming to us for very small money. Those 3 free agent signings, by the way, Brandon Brooks making just $750 a year as the backup right guard, filling in for William Campbell, who's now been traded. Antonio Gates making just $1.6 million as the backup tight end spot, replacing Ryan Otten there. Ray Edwards making just over $1 million a season to back up Earl Shorter at the left end spot. Personally, I feel bad for the right and left tackles and quarterbacks, specifically for other teams in the NFL. DeMarcus Ware and Earl Shorter, two truly dominant pass rushers from whom I expect big things. Thaddeus Gibson, it pains me to send him packing. However, his contract, I wouldn't say it was a terrible contract, but he was set to make between $6 and $8 million per year over the next 3 seasons, getting into the really heavy years of that contract in terms of payment. And with things going again the way they are, the budget's getting tight. We're going to be right up to the cap next year for sure. This year, probably coming in pretty close to the cap itself, and so looking to make sure looking to make absolutely sure that we're able to afford those things. There you see we traded the first overall pick. As you guys remember, last season we traded a guy who ironically is playing for us again now, Andre Branch, to the Dallas Cowboys for their first-round pick. As it turns out, it was the first overall pick, and so we flipped it to the Panthers this year for a first-rounder, an 11th overall pick for which we already have a guy in mind, a second-rounder, and a future first-rounder. I basically just spend the next small portion of this video rejigging everything in terms of our picks for the draft guys we're looking for. I'll break down all that. I already have the audio recorded. It's live recorded along with the scouting, so you guys can enjoy that. I know you guys love that. Having the live commentary during the draft, that's coming up in just a few minutes. Quickly to address the left tackle situation. Because we were unable to truly acquire somebody elite there, I've elected to keep all 3 left tackles we had last season. I'm talking about Bruce Campbell, Eugene Monroe, and Marcel Jones, who just re-upped. All 3 guys under contract for pretty reasonable numbers. Bruce Campbell making $2.2 million a season, Eugene Monroe making $7 million, and Marcel Jones making just under $1 million per season. Monroe's contract is a bit bigger, but he's got a lot of talent. He's got a 94 pass blocking number at that spot, 90 strength, 93 awareness. The guy is killer, which is why I can't bring myself to trade him, at least yet. The move might be in the future, but for right now, I'd like to hold on to him. The key is going to be keeping him healthy, and the way I want to do that, because of course trading away Jason Slowey means that we haven't had a backup left guard for an entire season now because we've been carrying an extra left tackle. This season we will not be carrying a backup center. Instead, we're going to be having Brandon Brooks backing up Brandon Mosley at the right guard spot and keeping those 3 left tackles. So we only have 9 offensive linemen, 1 fewer than most teams. But keeping those 3 left tackles is going to allow us to keep Eugene Monroe on the bench. Bruce Campbell will start. Monroe will be the first guy in anywhere on the offensive line when an injury comes up, and hopefully keeping him on the bench will keep him healthy. Obviously, from the last few seasons, anyone who's seen this series obviously knows how often we get injuries on the offensive line. Last season, we lost Keithan Cross for almost the entire first half of the season. Brandon Mosley was gone for the other half of the season. My goodness, there were injuries all over the place, including both of our left tackles at one point. Bruce Campbell, Marcel Jones were both hurt last year, while Eugene Monroe was out for the entire season. Jason Slowey, our center, backup center, I should say, started at left tackle in the first game of the year because it was just ridiculous. So obviously Monroe, even though he's getting paid a lot, will be a backup, but the reality is he's going to probably play just as many games as everyone else because, again, injuries happen so frequently. And it'll be great to have a dominant 6th offensive lineman, a guy who can come in. Right now our overalls for our offensive linemen sitting at 89 for Campbell, 87 for Cross, 90 for Hardy, 87 for Mosley, 92 for Jokel. So having an 89 backup in Monroe and then also Jones and a rookie we bring in the draft. That's a little spoiler for you guys. I'm really excited about the backups we have here. And Brandon Brooks, he's our free agent signing. He's raw, but he's getting paid dirt money, and he's got 94 strength. A lot of raw physical ability I think will be good. So I'm quite confident our left tackle situation will be just fine. quick note, this is reflected on the PDF, so I'll go through this quick. I know I'm throwing a ton of information at you guys, but I got to get through it if we're going to make it there. So guys who are gone, quick note about that. Ace Sanders, love this deal. He signed in Kansas City, 4 years, $13 million. He actually got more from the Chiefs than he asked from us. Credit to him. I've always loved Ace Sanders. Glad that he found a squad. Brian Anger actually got the money he was looking for, too. Unbelievable for a punter. $25 million over 7 years from the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, credit to him. There was no way we were going to be willing to pay him that much, so credit to him. He gets just over $3 million a season, 7 years of job security. Credit to that guy. I mean, hell, turning that gig into a 7-year deal with the Eagles, great job to him. And, hey, he is the best punter in the league, don't get me wrong. We filled that spot, though, rather easily because it's a punter at the end of the day. Michael Crabtree went to Dallas, again, got more money than he was asking from us, $51 million from the Dallas Cowboys over 5 years, just north of $10 million a season. Again, credit to him, that's huge money. Mohamed Massaquoi back in the league after a year off, went to Cincinnati for $850 a year, 1 year deal. Also in Cincinnati, Mike Kafka has been away from us for a couple seasons, but played for us in year one. At the back, third-string quarterback spot. He signed in Cincy for 2 years, $2.4 million. Ryan Otten, former tight end of ours, signed in New York with the Jets for $5.8 million over 3 years. Good job for him. Billy Wynn goes to the Ravens, 4 years, $7.6 million. Wynn was not with us last season, but he spent 2 years with us, and hey, almost $2 million a year. Not bad for a guy of Billy Wynn's size and stature and abilities. And then lastly, Taylor Thompson got his $5 million a year from the Houston Texans. 5 years, $25 million from him, from the Houston Texans to line his pockets. Again, credit to him. Not money that we were willing to pay. That's too expensive for our blood. A team that's got a lot of re-signings to take care of elsewhere at truly invaluable or going towards truly invaluable players. We had to get it done. As you can see on screen here, last while I've been rejigging draft picks. The total history of all the picks, I'll quickly run down for it because I don't have all of the actual footage of these trades. Basically, I think I made a total of, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. Yes, 3 trades to. Four trades. my apologies. Pardon me. 4 trades to get things rejigged. After the Panthers trade, we made a trade with the Bears, sending our first-round pick from this year and a 7th-round pick from next year for their first-round pick next year. Hopefully that'll be good. Ours was the 31st pick of the first round, so a very late pick. Hopefully next year we'll get one much higher in that draft. Next up, we made a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, sending backup right outside linebacker Torrey Meyer, a former, I think, 5th-round pick of ours who really wasn't panning out. Not that he was expected to, being a 5th-round pick, along with a 3rd-round pick from this year and a 3rd-rounder next year. For a 3rd-round pick this year, that was about 20 spots higher. A 4th-round pick this year, that was the 104th overall pick, and a 5th-rounder for this year, 136th overall pick. This was just to load up in the area where we're looking to draft guys. A lot of our scouting, actually, again, because we're not looking for brand new players to come in and do big and fancy, crazy things for us as we have in the past years with really highly sought-after rookies like Terrell Jefferson, for instance, Rob Hardy, like Keithan Cross, like Drick Haskell. Not a lot of guys. Earl Shorter would be on that list as well, of course. We're not looking for a lot of guys to come in and overnight take over the starting spot on this squad. We're mostly looking for guys to come in and be role players, serve as depth, and guys we can develop hopefully over the next year so that next year they can serve as really cheap backups because, again, we're going to have to spend a lot of money re-upping some of these really impressive players that we have on the roster who are young but have contracts that expire after this upcoming 2016 NFL season. Right? Again, it's all about the money at this point, and as much as we have a lot of cap room, we have to be very wise how we spend it, or else we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we need to pay 4 guys and we can only afford 1, And considering, hey, here's the reality. We made it to the Super Bowl this past year. Getting there was a huge step. The goal of this series was to win a Super Bowl. As far as I'm concerned, getting there in year 3 almost makes this a success immediately. We were very close to winning that game as it stands. And so, as far as I'm concerned, obviously the goal is still to win a championship, but we can really go all in these last 2 seasons. This one and the next year. I think that ultimately our team is going to peak next year. That's my hope. We're going to get a little older. We're going to get more expensive, but I'm willing to trade. We've stocked up 4 first-round picks for next season. And if there are rookies who look golden, I'll make a trade to get any single one of them or all of them. Or if we can, now we've shown already that it's impossible in this game to trade for truly elite talent, such as, the Joe Thomases, the Von Millers, the Levante Davids. But with that being said, there are certainly ways in which you can go about acquiring truly great talent, not elite talent, but great talent for first round picks. So hopefully our first round picks for next season turn out to be very good picks, and we can bring in some more guys. Included on the list, by the way, of the wide receivers we were looking at to trade for, in addition to Randall Cobb, I was looking at guys such as Des Bryant, Calvin Johnson. Jeremy Maclin was probably the one I thought about the most, just because his contract was affordable. Victor Cruz, however, was also on that list. Torrey Smith, Deshaun Jackson, A.J. Green, Brandon Marshall on that list. Randall Cobb I eventually decided to bring in because of his speed. Currently, with Randall Cobb coming into our wide receiver situation, we have him starting with Blackman, which I love. It's something that I missed last season with Crabtree. As good as Crabtree is, I loved it back in the day when we had Blackman and Short starting side by side. That way we have the strength and we have the speed working simultaneously. Now we get that back with Cobb and Blackman starting. Haskell and Shorts in the slot, I love. Haskell, 84 overall at the moment. Shorts, 86. I expect those numbers to go up rather soon. Haskell has been so wonderful for us there. Shorts there. And then Fuller serves as excellent depth. I know that our starting tight end, Derek Carrier, will be starting in the slot a lot as well, or playing a lot in the slot as well. So that'll be really exciting to monitor, see what we can do with this spread offense. We lose Crabtree, but we pick up Cobb, and as good as we were last year, Cobb is actually better now than Crabtree was then. And with another year of development for guys like Haskell and Fuller, I really pity the fool who has to cover our spread offense. Juan Delian, also a guy who has another year under his belt. He's up to 93 awareness, throwing accuracy 90+. Just amazing. I mean, he finished second in last season in the entire NFL for yards thrown. He was named the best quarterback in the NFL. I cannot wait to see what he can do. Personally, I expect him to be in the MVP discussion. The one thing this team truly lacks, as far as I'm concerned, because I think we have elite defensive linemen, we're 90+ basically across the board, including 2 great pass rushers, one of whom is Hall of Fame bound, the other of whom is just 1 year removed from being a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Our linebacking core is phenomenal. There's no better combination than Washington and Good and Woodyard. Not elite, but very good. Corners, we have 4 guys who are 90+. All of our DBs starting are 90+. Blake is 95 at the moment. Rookie sensation Jonathan Cyprin's 94. I mean, this defense is completely unstoppable. We've already gone over the offensive line. Wide receivers were ridiculous. Quarterback Juan Delian coming on like a wild man. Marcel Reese, there's no one better. But however, the 2 spots where I think we could be a little better, halfback and tight end, where those might be the 2 places that we look to overspend next season and really go up to that cap on our quest to finally pick up a Super Bowl championship. Anyways, we made one last pick. I'll quickly turn it over to past Tuxedo T-Shirt, me being future Tuxedo T-Shirt, to take you through the draft. The last pick we made, not a super important one, but still one I'll tell you about because I tell you guys everything about this series. We traded a 2017 5th and 6th round pick to the Panthers for a 5th-round pick this year. They had the first pick of the 5th round this season, and we elected to trade for that in order to make a selection. So we did that. We used it. And now I'll show you exactly how we did it. To take you through all the scouting, draft, all that wonderful stuff, here is past Tuxedo T-Shirt. All right. Thank you, future Tuxedo T-Shirt. We got the NFL draft about to go down. Very exciting times for these Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get right to it, shall we? Boom. NFL draft set to go. Perfect. So we're going to start off by pausing this thing. Of course, we have yet to officially look through all of our scouting stuff with you, and therefore I have elected to pause the video right here at this moment, and let's get underway discussing the scouting that we did. Of course, at this point in the series, being that we are going into season 4 of 5. We are, of course, looking more closely at simply, sustaining the success we're having. I'll say it that way, as opposed to building from the ground up. And our picks have that in mind. As expressed earlier, we were unable to trade for a truly outstanding outside linebacker. Really the only one that stood out to me. A lot of the issues with the guys that are available here is just a lack of physical ability. For instance, Chauncey Ponder, Dondi Sampson, a lot of the guys who are expected to go top at the top level of the outside linebacking draft, as far as these guys are concerned, just lack that physical element. The only guy I was really a fan of at all is this gentleman right here, Felix Atwater. We're hopefully picking with the 11th overall selection. He does lack speed to a degree. Just an 80 in the speed category. Fortunately, his acceleration should be at least an 80 with a B in that category. And but outside of that, luckily, he seems to be a run-stopping beast. An A for tackling already, B for strength, which is nice. Awareness of a C is pretty good. His moves aren't bad. Block shedding, pursuit, play recognition, all at a B, which for right now is pretty darn good. His zone coverage is terrible, but his man coverage is already a C, which is pretty good for this level. His stamina is not great, but his injury is perfect. Atwater is not somebody who would be starting this year. However, he would be a special teams demon for us. And then within next year, he would have the opportunity to potentially, if he develops well, start ahead of Julian Stanford at the left outside linebacker spot. And if not, we could look to bring somebody in there depending on his development. The player I'm really interested in checking out as far as development is concerned, though, is this gentleman who's slated to be picked 3 outside linebackers after Atwater. This is DeJuan Buie. I'm just going to say it like that. Buie is expected to go mid-3rd round. He is a physical freak. This guy currently does not have the skills to be a linebacker in this league. However, his speed is a B, and his acceleration is an A. Strength of a B is pretty good for an outside linebacker. His hit power isn't great, and again, tackling of a D is poor. But with his agility, speed, strength being what it is, this is a guy worth developing for sure. His stamina a little higher, jumping very good. He's hopefully going to be the 3rd selection we make. The second one we're going to make is at the wide receiver spot. We are very deep at the wide receiver spot right now. However, I wasn't really impressed, as I think I said earlier in the video, with this draft that is taking place. The person I want to pick with this selection is Spencer Tarpley. Spencer Tarpley, 21st, slated to go 21st in the 3rd round. He is 6'2", 208. His catching in traffic is what really led me to like this kid. An A in that category, a B in catching. A spectacular catch is not very good, but when you can find a cat who's got A speed, A acceleration, B jumping, B route running, this is a guy who I think could be a star. Now, we probably, in our 2 seasons remaining, won't see him reach his full potential, but he could certainly be a good guy to have in the way of depth. We are, again, very deep at receiver, but as has been proven in this series time and time again, you can never, ever have too many guys. The guy we're looking at going 4th with is Bari Suber, who's slated to go high 4th round. Suber, running back. This will be the 3rd straight season we're drafting a mid-round back. The last 2 haven't worked out super well for us, unfortunately. As you can see, I spent a lot of points checking out running backs, and Suber, to me anyways, appears to be the best combination of size and speed. He's got a B in strength, A's for all of the speed, agility, and acceleration. Elusiveness needs some work, but his ball carrier vision's already pretty darn good. I really like his spin move, A, juke, B. He's got decent-ish hands, and his stamina's a B. That's a bit of a drag, but there were no A staminas in this category anyways. Plus, running back is a position where you always like to swap guys out, and his injury rating is perfect. It's an A, which is really nice. So again, the last 2 seasons we've drafted 2 running backs again mid-round. Markeith Hickman, I think, has been. I mean, he was not picked with the hope that he would be a dominant back, just a hope that he would be a good depth guy. The reality is he has not even reached that potential. Davon Armstrong, both as a returner and a back, is coming along up to a 78 now. I think he'll stick around. Suber likely going to replace Hickman on the roster, who is likely to be cut. After Suber, the next guy I want to pick is a left tackle. I know we have enough left tackles on the roster. However, we do need another offensive lineman, and this guy is a big project. This guy is Gabe Viziosi. Viziosi? I don't know. Let's go with Vizioso. 6'7", 300 pounds. Huge man. Just 20 years of age. He's got a lot of development ahead of him. His blocking is not stellar at the moment. B, pass blocking, C, run blocking, C, impact blocking. So he's got a ways to go, but 93 strength. C, acceleration, C, awareness. Those numbers are hard to find for guys this late in the draft. Also, a B in stamina for a tackle, pretty good, especially one who's 300 pounds. Injury rating of an A, not bad. Gabe Vizioso, I'll probably move him to right tackle on the roster. However, he would play inside. You cannot change in this game. You cannot flip an exterior lineman like a tackle to playing guard or center. However, he would back up there at one of those 2 spots. Just to have another body on the offensive line, particularly one who's getting paid very little money, especially because we're going to try and pick him in the 5th round. His contract will be very, very, very small. 2 more picks to make. Going to the wide receiver bin again. However, this is also someone who will have a position change take place. Randy McNary, 6'4", 241 out of Carroll College. He is a player who we are going to convert to tight end. I know that sounds crazy, but we're going to go through some of the rest of this draft in a moment. Some of the guys I've scouted. There's not a lot to really pick at, especially tight ends. The pickings are very slim. And McNary's already got a lot of the things he'll need to be a tight end. 6'4", decent size for a tight end. He's got good hands. B's for both catching in traffic. Also a B for spectacular catch. His D and release needs a lot of work. However, route running B, jumping B, speed B, acceleration B, I like a lot of that. Strength is also a C, which for a tight end is pretty fair pretty par for the course. Awareness of a C, not bad at all for a rookie. Run blocking already at a C as well. That's pretty darn good for a tight end. You don't see a lot of rookie tight ends who have anything higher than a B in run blocking anyway, so he's going to fit in there. Just to take a quick look at the tight ends who are actually here, as you can see, I've checked out all the top guys, and I don't like what I see from a lot of them. I refuse to pick a tight end with speed and acceleration lower than a B in both categories. You need to be able to get off the line for those short routes to come open. A lot of times the tight end is going to be the hot route, so when the blitz is on, the tight end's got to get up and out, make the quick catch. If you don't have the acceleration, if you don't have the speed, you're useless. And a lot of these guys do not have the physical abilities, and they do not have the inherent physical abilities necessary for that. Granted, I did not look too far down the list. However, with that being said, I guess there could always be a diamond in the rough, so to speak. But I would rather look through the wide receivers because we get a big discount when scouting those guys. Last thing, we are drafting a punter to replace the departed Brian Anger. Carter Porter is going to be that man. He's slated to go high 6th round. He's got kicking power of 97. Would be wonderful to scoop him up. His kicking accuracy is terrible, but for the most part, for punting, we're going to be concerned with the power. If he's not available, Taylor Kenny will do just fine. He's got an A for kick accuracy and 92 for kick power. So one of those two guys will suit us just fine in that regard. So that's our scouting. Anything else I can show you guys in terms of scouting? You can see here I scouted the top dogs at the left tackle position, thinking, maybe if we were to move on from our current group of left tackles, we could go with a rookie. The reality is the strength just isn't there for a lot of these guys. I'm not wanting to invest in I'm not wanting to invest, I'll say, in an offensive lineman when the strength isn't at least an A. We also looked at some of the top guys in terms of defensive tackles. Just not a very deep set of guys. You can see here, defensive tackles with Jesse Williams slated to become a free agent at the end of next season. Looking to maybe stock up. You can see here, strength of a C for a lot of these guys. Just brutal. The only couple A's there were 88s. There's another 2 88s. Where's 191 way down the list? But for a player who's definitely more of a 3-4 kind of guy and who's really lost when it comes to some aspects of the gig. So not looking to go there. We're going to try and stick to the plan for what we have. And again, this isn't a draft. We had the first overall pick a while ago. This is, however, not a draft where we're looking to, like last year, where we're looking to find an Earls O. Shorter. We're not looking to find a big star to come in who can be a starter as a rookie and potentially win Rookie of the Year. This is a draft that we're looking to fill in positions that we need, or there are a few areas of need, because we simply do not have that many places where we really need a guy. So here we go. Looking back at the first 10 picks, it does not appear that the gentleman we are looking at, Felix Atwater, has been picked. So here we go. Felix Atwater, about to be selected by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Atwater is currently listed as a right outside linebacker. He will, of course, be flipped to a left outside linebacker, where he will be groomed alongside Julian Stanford for that spot next year. Again, if neither of those guys pan out, we can make a trade. We can look to do something. That spot, I was hoping to fill it, again, with Von Miller, Levante David, or Gerard Mayo. None of the trades pan out. Just the asking price is too high. And so he goes. Oops, I hit draft board. We'll go back. The next pick we're looking to make, we have the 36th pick in the draft. That is the 4th pick of the second round. And it is with that pick that we will likely go with, we're going to probably go with Dajuan Buey, followed immediately by Spencer Tarpley. Depending. That order can almost be flipped with those guys filling out the way they are. Let's go ahead. Let's see which position has been picked more. I think that if we were to select a player between these two, I think Buey is the more important one, because in this draft I kind of see Buey as the athletic one with no skills, and I see Atwater as the really skilled one who lacks athletics. So let's go ahead with Buey, because at the end of the day, Tarpley would be a wonderful addition. However, if we miss out on a wide receiver, that's not the end of the world. We have enough wide receivers on this roster. Granted, some of them are upcoming free agents. We could lose them, which is why you always want to add talent at any position. But we'll see here. We're advancing to our next pick, which is the 63rd pick in the draft. And hopefully for us, Spencer Tarpley has been selected 26th in the second round by the Cleveland Browns. So we're about 5 picks too late for him. That's too bad. Fortunately, however, we're going to be able to make some of our other picks a little sooner with this. Bari Suber, the halfback, is still available. He's actually just got one guy ahead of him, so maybe good that we're getting in on Suber now. If I was going to be able to get Tarpley or Suber, I think we would be better off getting Suber. 6 feet, 195 out of New Hampshire. Bari Suber comes onto a team that needs some more halfback depth. We've had every single season a minimum of 2 running backs get hurt over the course of the year. Last year, Davon Armstrong got quite a bit of playing time as the 3rd running back, and I expect Bari Suber to compete with him for that spot this year. So here we go. Let's advance to next user pick. So we lose out on Tarpley. We'll check. I'll make sure to update you guys on what Tarpley looks like as a pro. Maybe he's going to be a great player for the Browns. Maybe he's a bust. You never know. That's part of what makes the draft so fun. This selection is the 72nd pick in the draft. And this one really too high to pick anybody that we have on our list. Let's go ahead, view current offers for this pick, because I would like to trade down. And wow, so boom. This is the pick that we have right here is the 8th pick of the 3rd round. We're getting offered 2 2017 second-round picks for it. We're going to go ahead. Let's take Carolina's. Carolina had the 1st overall pick in this draft, meaning they're a team in the toilet. Granted, next year they could be great, but at least as it stands right now, they are a struggling team, which means that hopefully for us, they will be miserable next year, and that will be a very high pick in the 2nd round. Meanwhile, we can advance to the next user pick. This is going to be a 4th-round selection, the 104th pick of the draft. And with this selection, we're likely going to be looking to take, we have Vizioso, the left tackle, we have McNary, the wide receiver, and we have our 2 punters to look at. Well, let's check out all 3 positions, see where all 3 of those guys stand. We've yet to see a punter selected, not a huge shock there. We do, of course, have 2 5th-round picks after this, as discussed earlier. Likely that at least one of those guys is going to be available. So that will be our last priority. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the left tackles. Vizioso, only one guy ahead of him on the list, so his stock could be rather high. McNary at the wide receiver spot. He's got several guys ahead of him. Granted, a lot of wide receivers fall till late. Let's let McNary go. We're going to go ahead with this pick. We're going to pick Vizioso, who is slated to go higher than that wide receiver, Randy McNary. So Vizioso, drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 4th round, well ahead of where he was supposed to go, almost 2 full rounds ahead of where he was expected to go. But to me, when you have an offensive lineman with physical prowess, the rest of it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick the offensive lineman with the best physical abilities, because if you can find a guy with dominant physical traits, then the rest of the skills are really easy to work up, unless there's something truly terrible, unless they have like an F in run blocking or something like that. You can build them up, no problem. And so here we will make the pick of our wide receiver, Randy McNary. Hopefully he's still available, and he is the top wide receiver slated to go next. He will be picked, and he will be, of course, changed to a tight end. In this game, I believe I've done it once already in this game, in a separate file of mine, moved a wide receiver to tight end. I know it's at least possible to do on the depth chart, so even if it's not officially done, it can be done within the game itself, just kind of meta like that. And we will advance to the next user pick. This will be one of our 2. This is a pick that's just 3 picks after our last one, and this will be probably the first selection of a punter, you'd think. We'll see how that goes in just a moment. Maybe one of these punters went really early. And no, as it stands, Carter Porter still available. And so we're going to go with him out of Delaware, 5'8", 180. He is selected by the Jacksonville Jaguars. A punter selected in the 4th round. Who knew? But we just have some punter need. We need someone to come in. We need someone to fill in that void. And that'll be that. So we're going to go ahead, advance to the next user pick. That should bring us to the end of the draft. We do not have any 6th or 7th picks. I will say this again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Madden needs to give us more points to scout. They really do. Not enough points. I want to be able to check out all the guys that are in the draft. I want to be able to see 40 times. I want to be able to see reps. I want to see all that kind of stuff, results from pro days. I want to be able to scout 5 times the number of players we actually can. The problem is we just don't have enough points. Even with winning a lot of practices this year, we just don't have enough points. If you really want to be thorough, it's impossible. You can't do it. So here we go. Rookie signings. Let's blitz through these really quick. I want to see some of the guys from the other teams as well. Felix Atwater, selected 11th overall, 77 overall. Interesting. 77, not a terrible number. His acceleration is 85. Thank goodness. That's a very good number. 72 agility, not great. Ball carrier vision, wow, that's really good for a linebacker. Awareness of 76, I'll take that for a rookie. Block shedding already very good at 84 for a rookie, certainly. His hit power at 76, not great, but we can deal with that. 94 injury, gotta love it. Jumping a 76, not great, but that's okay. We'll work with it. Personality is 72. Hey, not bad. Not that that's the most important thing. Power moves a bit disappointing. Pursuit 83, not bad at all for a rookie running linebacker. We'll get to that. Speed of 80. We'll work on that a little bit. Buey also has 80 there. That's disappointing. I thought he was going to be better in that category. Stamina of 76. That's worrisome. We'll have to work that up. 85 strength, 91 tackling. 91 tackling. That is a beautiful number. We'll continue working on that, though, even with that being the case. Daejuan Buey is next. We'll quickly run through all that. I saw some of the things here. 67 overall. That's an icky number, especially for a second-round pick. However, once his skills are up, I'm confident he will be a much more effective player. Acceleration, even better. 88. 86 agility is beautiful. 70 awareness. 68 block shedding. That is an icky number. We'll work on that. His catching is actually, catching and track for both of these linebackers, abnormally good, which I dig. 75 hit power. Not terrible, not great. His pursuit, his jumping is phenomenal. I saw his pursuit the first time by, which is terrible. We'll work on that. Man coverage also, by the way, for Atwater, 72, is delightful. What a great number that is. 54 for Buey, not as much. Pursuit of 62, that's a bad number. Not psyched at all about that. His speed only being 80, not psyched about that either. Strength of 81, though, when you have that acceleration, that strength, that is a wonderful thing. Tackling of 58, that's obviously terrible. We knew that going in, however. So Buey not as dominant as I thought he would be with the physicals, and honestly, Atwater a little better than I thought with the physicals. Atwater could definitely be a solid starter, especially with that coverage number. Bari Suber already as good as David Armstrong with the overall number, and he was actually he was drafted in the late second round. I was going to say, I think Armstrong was drafted high third, early or late second last year. One of you guys can verify that for me. Suber, I love his durability at 95. That's great. Acceleration of 95. Agility of 94. Awareness of 76. Loving these numbers. Ball carrier vision 87. His carrying is terrible, but we knew that. We can work on that very easily. Elusiveness, also not great. 70. That'll need some work. Catching, not great. Not going to be confused for a wide receiver at all, but that's fine. His jukes are great. Injury of 96. That's phenomenal. Jumping, not great, but that's not very important for running backs. Keep going down the list here. His speed is 95. That's great. What great speed, everything. Spin move of 90. Stamina of 84, not bad. Strength 77 for a dude like this, not bad at all. I'm very pleased with him. Trucking of 60, not great, but hey, when you have his strength, that'll come up real quick. Very pleased with Bari Suber as that selection. Vigioso. Let's do these last three guys all at once. We got Vigioso, we got McNary, we got Porter. Porter's numbers are obviously very straightforward. He's an 80 as far as punting is concerned. Vigioso already an 81. That boggles my mind. McNary just a 70, though his number will change as he becomes a tight end. His acceleration of 77, ew, that's icky. Don't like that at all. But better than a C rating would be, that's for sure. Vigioso 75, that's a great number for him. Both awareness of 70, not terrible, I suppose. Carrying of 80, nice job. 81 and 80 for McNary in the catching categories. That's very nice. Elusiveness of 88, that's shockingly high. Gotta dig that. Impact blocking 76 for Vigioso, not bad at all. McNary just 61. That'll be something we have to work on. Injury rating, especially for Vigioso, very nice. Wow. Vigioso blowing me away so far. 85 pass blocking, that's great. For McNary, 68 for a tight end, that's actually pretty good, especially for a rookie. Let's keep going along here. Run blocking 67 for both. And that is obviously why Vigioso was available as late as he was in this draft. We'll work on that nice and quick. Speed rating of 67 for him. For McNary, 81. Not a great number. Probably not much better than the bad tight ends that were in this draft. His stamina number also not nice. Granted, this is a cat who's going to be our third tight end for this season. Though 75 strength rating, pretty darn good. Vigioso, meanwhile, his strength rating 93. We knew that already, but that's just nice to see because that's a great number. Aside from that, that's pretty much all we need to see. Aside from kicking power and kicking accuracy, it's time to find out exactly how bad Porter's kicking accuracy is, and actually 76 isn't that bad. 97 power totally makes that worth it. So there we go. Not bad at all. The player I'm really interested in seeing, first of all, I'll go through this quickly because, again, I don't want to make these videos too long. I like checking out who the best players of every draft were. I'm looking for guys who are 80 plus just to see who got the best pick in the draft. I've seen lots of 81s so far, which isn't that special because we have multiple guys in the 80s. Frank Milliner, another one, cornerback for the Panthers. You can see a lot of icky numbers along with some fabulous numbers for some teams. None better than us so far. Saints, 79 is their best. Seahawks, 90. Boom. Okay, we found one. Holy smokes. Dale Ott. He was actually available when we went. Mind you, we're not looking for a left guard at all with Keith and Cross in our book, but hey, 24th overall, 90 left guard. That's ridiculous. His acceleration is terrible, and his awareness is only 76. However, impact blocking, 89. Wow, that's phenomenal. Great injury number at 92. Pass blocking, 81. Not bad for a guard at this stage. What's his run blocking at, though? 87. Wow. That and a speed of 77. Holy smoke. Stamina not bad. Strength of 96. Wow. So far, Dale Ott, definitely the best pick of the draft. Definitely worthy of Rob Hardy, our center selection from last year, who I think was the best player of that draft. Has certainly turned out to be so. Already 90 plus as a sophomore player. Continuing on, Vikings. 60s and 50s for their first selections. 78 cornered there. Bengals got two guys in the 80s. Nice job for them, including a second rounder. You don't see that a whole lot. Bills top out at 79. Broncos 82. Let's see who that was. And that, wow, that's actually a second round pick. Mind you, quarterbacks, usually their overall ratings are a little higher. Nice job for them. Browns, look at that. Wide receiver Spencer Tarpley, 83 overall. Looking like I found a good one, and we just let him slip through our fingers. 93 acceleration, very nice. Awareness rating is poopy, but they can work on that easily. Catching in traffic, 88. Granted, that's the lowest number you can have with an A being there, but that's still very good. 90 for an injury, that's great for him. Returnability, not great. However, going down the list, route running of 82, that is very nice. Release is terrible, but he can work on that pretty easily. Speed of 90, not dominant, but not bad. Stamina is only 74. That's actually a bad thing. All right, that lessens the blow for me, but 83, that's still a good number. Granted, I think we have 5 wide receivers currently with better numbers than that, but hey, that's just me being sour about that. Nice job, hey, by the Browns picking him ahead of where we would, because we were even slated to pick him quite a bit ahead of where he was supposed to go. Chargers, 82 and 83, nice job. Again, one of them is a quarterback. That changes it a little bit, but Cecil Spence, hey, corner at 82, nice job. 81, top it out there, 81 again. Lots of 81. By the way, let's take a look at Dylan McRoy, 13th pick of the draft. He was a tight end that we really didn't like. His acceleration is 72. Boom. I'm going to defend my decision not to draft him strictly on that, especially when his catching is only 75 to start things out. The only thing that could save this kid for me is if his run blocking was phenomenal, and it's 77. Pretty good for a tight end, but not great. Strength of 82, again, pretty good, which is why he went so high in the draft. But that's not really that special to me anyways. Cowboys going 80 overall. Hey, not bad. Dolphins, couple 79s. Eagles got an 81. Falcons, not much. 76. 49ers, 82. Wow, an 82 later in the draft. I wonder if that is. It's a left guard, second round. Hey, nice job. Giants, the last team on our list, they top out at 71. They got a 58 left end. Mind you, that's going to be a 3-4 guy, so that's going to look awful in our book. He could actually be an excellent 3-4 dude, depending. Not that we really have time to check him out that much. Speed, 70. Strength of 82. Yeah, he could be decent, I guess, maybe. Power moves are not great, though. Anyways, not important. Getting back to the Jags. All in all, I call it a successful draft. Not a lot of sexy picks in this one. 77, 78, 81. Not a lot of sexiness, I would say, in this draft. However, again, as this series goes on, it becomes more and more about keeping the guys we have already, keeping the guys who we have in place, as opposed to as opposed to picking guys who are going to be stars. It's just because we have, we're going to be up against the cap real soon, and only 2 more seasons to try and win a cup. So thank you so much, guys. I'll turn it back over to Future Tuxedo T-Shirt, who's going to break down the season roster, the final version that'll go on to the preseason. And actually the regular season, because the preseason will be included when this video is released. Yeah. So the regular season rosters, I'll turn it over to him. Take it away. All right, guys. Welcome back. Thank you very much, Past Tuxedo T-Shirt, for that wonderful, eloquently spoken introduction. You handsome, handsome devil. Here we go. We're going to run down the finalized roster for the moves we made. Also, immediately after doing this, we're going to recap just some of the quick re-signings I was able to make for this squad. For guys who are incumbents, we've spent a lot of money in the last while. As you can see, our funds in the top right-hand corner down from a huge, I think it was $92 million to 29. That means we just handed out $60 million in guaranteed money. How you like them apples? Yo. Spending a lot of cash, but it's got to be done. Here we go. Juan Delian, going into his 3rd season, has done some amazing things as the starting quarterback of this team. He will only continue to get better as this time goes on. He's up to 89 overall. Also, something that you guys are welcome to check out is I've included a second PDF in this for this video. And what I did is I took the history of all of our player progression for every player this team has ever employed over the course of this series of the Tuxedo T-Shirt Rebuilding the Jacksonville Jaguars series. And I just summarized all of their overall numbers. So you can see, for a guy like Luke Jokel or Jonathan Cyprin, Xavier Gooden, Darrell Washington, guys who we've had since the very beginning, you can see how they've grown. I update their number 3 times, just like the video, beginning of the season, middle of the season, and end of the season. So you can see, obviously they dip every offseason just a little bit, but you can see how the numbers progress over time. Or in the case of some of our older players regress. It doesn't happen a lot, but generally because we get rid of those players when they start to regress. But that's there. So you can see the growth of Juan Delian there. It's very, very interesting to check out, and hey, it's great. I can't wait till the end of the season. I expect him to be 94 plus at the end of the season. Would be great. Meanwhile, Matt Scott, Ronald Barker, both great backups. Neither ever get any playing time because Delian never gets hurt, knock on wood. Hopefully that won't be an issue this year. Halfback Stephen Ridley, going to be starting as the backup this season behind Robinson. Robinson's number dipped, unfortunately. And hello, Bari Suber, the rookie out of New Hampshire. Looking to come on strong. He's up to an 80. By the way, since I recapped those rookie numbers at the end of the draft, I was able to play through the whole preseason. We have some injuries to start the year, not many. Jonathan Cyprin, going to miss week 1 with an upper arm fracture. He hurt that in the first preseason game. He'll only miss 1 regular season game. Donald Butler, back at middle linebacker, going to miss the first 3 weeks. Bruce Campbell, unfortunately, going to miss the first quarter of the season, 4 weeks with a knee cartilage tear. We just cannot get any luck with that position. And Ray Edwards, backup left end, going to miss 5 weeks with an upper arm fracture, the left end spot. Hopefully that'll be fine because obviously we know our other backup defensive end can play both of those positions. Andre Branch has played both of those spots for us before. So no huge problems there. But hey, Bari Suber coming in to this team was selected in this past year's draft at the very end of the 2nd round. Who knows? Maybe he could even be the starting running back for this squad. His biggest flaw was that he could not carry the ball worth a damn. That number's up to 78, and his overall has spiked. He's got the best physical ability of anybody on this running back squad. His strength almost as good as Stephen Ridley, but his other numbers, speed, agility, and acceleration, leave his numbers in the dust. Awareness already almost as good. Ball carry vision's better. Elusiveness is less. But hey, some of his other skills doesn't have the same moves necessarily. Spin and juke just as good. Far worse stiff arm and truck. Not as much of a power back though. Same catching ability. Who knows? And Denard Robinson, it's kind of apples and oranges because they're so different. But for Denard Robinson, a guy who's supposed to be elusive, whose elusivity number is excellent. But hey, the acceleration, the agility, the speed, not really any better than Subers. So that'll be interesting to see. And then Davon Armstrong, very nice, 79 at the 4th spot, second-year guy. Marcel Reese, meanwhile, we already know about him. Stellar fullback. And here he is, Randall Cobb, the newly acquired wide receiver coming in over from the Green Bay Packers. He will start at the number 1 spot this season, working with Justin Blackman. I cannot wait to see these two cats play together, see what they can do in the stats category. Cobb, you can see a smaller guy, 5'10", 192. Blackman, 6'1", 210. More about the strength than the speed. Randall Cobb, more about the speed than the strength. Still, a dynamo going over the middle. 93 catching in traffic, 95 catching in general. Some of the best hands in the league. And unlike a lot of smaller guys, his route running ability, release ability, as good as anybody's, which is phenomenal. Cannot wait to see that come into fruition. And aside from that, Haskell's going to be the first starter in the slot. But Shorts, Fuller, very nice. Randy McNary is going to be our 3rd tight end. Brandon Banks coming in for another season of returning. He's in the last year of his contract. Hopefully, he can improve upon his performance from last season and really show his worth there. Derek Carrier, Antonio Gates at the tight end spots. They'll hold it down, no problem. Eugene Monroe, Bruce Campbell, Marcel Jones. We've already said Campbell's hurt, unfortunately, but Monroe and Jones can hold that spot down, no problem. A lot of great blocking numbers from these guys. Pass blocking, 94 and 90 for Monroe and Campbell, respectively, and 90 for Marcel Jones. That cat is nothing to shake a stick at. He lacks the same physical ability in terms of speed and acceleration that a lot of these guys have at the left tackle spot, which really is what holds him back. However, in terms of raw blocking ability, he is as good as almost anybody in this league, to be perfectly honest. Left guard, Keithan Cross, we already know about him. Coming into his 3rd season out of Penn State, was a former first-round pick of ours, and he's done very well. Rob Hardy, dominant center, just going into his 2nd year of play. This cat out of Purdue, ridiculous from the middle of our offensive line. Ridiculous strength, acceleration, awareness for a guy just in his second year, and blocking ability off the charts. Such a great pick. Brandon Mosley has developed into a very nice starter at the right guard position. He's in his 4th year with us. Brandon Brooks, the newbie, coming in. As you can see, Brandon Brooks, some of his skills, pass blocking, we've already upgraded significantly since he signed. Are subpar. His acceleration quite poor, awareness quite poor, but you can't beat 94 strength, 84 run blocking. If he has to come in and play, which isn't terribly likely because he would be the 3rd or 4th backup to come in, I'm quite confident by at least the mid-season point he'll be fine. As you can see, we were forced to make a couple cuts. One of those 2 cuts, I shouldn't say it was a cut. It was actually a trade. We were able to get something in exchange for one of who was our second last cut. We only had to make 2 cuts this year, which I really like. It sucks to have to make difficult decisions for who's going to come, who's going to go. We traded away Byron Bell, who was the backup we signed last season to the Mounties for a 5th-round pick. The other pick, of course, or the other player who was gone, I think I already mentioned this in the scouting, is, of course, Markeith Hickman, who just never really developed into anything as the 4th 4th halfback, pardon me. So now we're off to our right tackles. Byron Bell gone to the Mounties, and Markeith Hickman gone to the free agency market. And hey, the reason that Bell was expendable was this cat, Gabe Vizioso, the rookie. Vizioso was selected. Let me see here, with a late 4th round selection. Was brought in as like a developmental guy, and boom, 81 since being flipped from the left to the right side of this offense. His run blocking needs work. Pass blocking, though, not bad. Impact blocking, not bad either. Strength is great. 6 points better than Luke Jokel. Acceleration needs some work. Awareness needs some work. But aside from that, this kid can totally play. He likely won't get any playing time this season, but who knows what he could do for next year. Also, one of the keys, because he was a late pick, he's very inexpensive. Earl Shorter, officially a full-time starter now at the left end spot, backed up by Ray Edwards, though he's injured. Right end, DeMarcus Ware, the $10 million man, up there in front of Andre Branch. And my goodness, as you can see, DeMarcus Ware, some concern because of his age, but look at these physical numbers from him. Speed of 80, strength of 84, agility 79, acceleration 93. That's down from 95, but that's still probably the best in this entire game for anyone who's over 250 pounds. Gotta love that. Our defensive tackle situation unchanged from last season, and why would we change it? Linval Joseph, Jesse Williams, Von Martin, Brandon Diederich. Find me a group of defensive tackles better than these four. You're not going to be able to do it, son. Wesley Woodyard, Julian Stanford back as our left outside linebackers. Felix Atwater joins them. 78 overall. We've been working with him on his what was his big flaw? He's already an excellent tackler. Already one of the better tacklers on the team, actually, with 91 ability there. For him, it would have been awareness, I believe, getting that up to 82. And yeah, up just a little bit from when he was selected because of that. Middle linebackers unchanged from last season, minus the retirement of Ray Lewis. Right outside linebacker Xavier Gooden being backed up by Dajuan Buey. A disappointing pick, I would say, for now. We've already worked on his tackling, got that up to 72, which is why his overalls increased a bit. Obviously, this is a guy mostly selected for his physical abilities, strength, speed, acceleration, agility, all that. Hopefully, we can continue to work on that because he needs a lot. If Xavier Gooden, also for the record, if Xavier Gooden actually gets hurt, his replacement will be Julian Stanford, followed by Felix Atwater. Buey, only going to be a special teamer this year, will not play on defense. Corners, show me a group of corners better than this. Terrell Jefferson, Dwayne Gratz, Chris Greenwood, Demetrius McCrae, DeMarcus Van Dyke, Jeremy Harris. What a disgustingly talented group. Gotta love it. And they're all 27 or younger. The plus side, hey, they're freaking talented. The downside, three of these cats, Grass, Greenwood, and McCrae, are all upcoming free agents who are going to want huge money. But we'll get to that in about 2 minutes. Free safeties, unchanged, and outstanding. Antoine Blake, Josh Evans. Find me a better group than that. Strong safeties, boom. Again, find me a better group than this. Jonathan Cypher, the rookie sensation. Chris Brzezinski, gotta love it. Unchanged from last year. Justin Tucker, still holding down the fort of the kicker spot. And punter Carter Porter, spelling his name in the most frustrating way possible. 82 overall since we upped his kicking accuracy to 84. Kicking accuracy, by the way, in this game, stupidly easy to develop. Kick power, impossible to develop. That's why you pick the guy with the ridiculous power and the awful accuracy. Quick rehash of these picks. Here we go. We got this is our predicted pick. I don't know why they're predicting we're going to finish with the first overall pick. That's kind of offensive. That's our original pick. And then after that, we got Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Carolina's pick. So we're loaded for this upcoming draft. We'll see how that goes down the line. After that, boom, you can see here. Also, I love that the Toronto Mounties official shortened version of their name is not TOR for Toronto. It's just CAN for Canada. It's like, yeah, but it's just Canada's pick, whatever. Now quickly going to our salary page. Again, this is reflected in the PDF, so I'll go over it pretty quickly, but we were able to negotiate new contracts with some of our players who needed new contracts. I'm going to drop the footage in here. This is the complete list of guys who want new contracts from us, whose contracts are ending this season, who want money because they deserve money. They're all excellent players. And we paid as many of them as possible. We could still pay some of them. As you can see, we got $22 million of cap space. That number is going to go way down next year, though, and some of the deals we signed this year are going to kick in. Every year when you sign those big deals, they kick in the following year. So right now, the deals that we signed last year are kicking in, and we're going to have to face that next year when it comes. Fortunately, we have a lot of cap space this year. Next year, we're going to spend right up to that cap as soon as we lock down all these guys. One of the guys we're probably never going to be able to re-sign, Matt Scott, who wants $5 million a season. We're going to stick with Barker. So Matt Scott in his last year with the Jags. Aside from that, nobody who needed anything from the wide receiver spot. Tight end spot, Derek Carrier needed a new deal. We were able to re-sign. This is the first one I did. 3 years, $4.8 million is his new deal. Not bad at all. Barely more than $1.5 million a season, and just $1.8 million was guaranteed. So not a huge number of amount of guaranteed money, just $600,000 a year. So hey, not a bad deal at all for a guy of his skill set. Moving on from there, no left tackles. We can go on from there. Right tackle Luke Jokel needed a new deal. This is where a lot of our guaranteed money was spent. Luke Jokel got the biggest contract of anyone who was looking to re-sign with us. And as far as I'm concerned, that had to be the case. Luke Jokel re-signs for 6 years, $45 million. The former second overall pick got 21 guaranteed. Or $21 million guaranteed. If you're wondering, by the way, why the on-screen numbers don't match exactly what I'm saying, that's because this deal, of course, kicks in next season. So the original contract he'd signed applies for this season still. So Jokel, again, almost $7 million on average for the next 7 years with this deal being the case. But, it's got to happen. He's the best in the business at the right tackle spot as far as I'm concerned. And so you got to pay the man. That's just how it works. Moving on from there, we had to renegotiate with Jesse Williams, and I was very happy to get him under contract for 5 years, $26 million. $6 million of those $26 million are guaranteed. Just over $5 million for a defensive tackle of his youth and caliber. Not a bad deal at all. I will say one of the things I was very pleased with in re-signing a bunch of these young cats, including Xavier Gooden, whose deal I'm going to announce next, was how much they were willing to be reasonable, reject many different offers before taking the one that I eventually offered. I would have recorded them all for you, but it would have taken too long for a video that's already too long as it is. Gooden's 6 years now onto his original 1-year deal, so he signed for 5 years, and the financials of his deal, $30 million over those 5 years, 10 of those million guaranteed. This is a guy who for the last 3 seasons we've had to pay a total of $1.2 million. Well, we just handed him a check for $10 million guaranteed. On top of that, $20 million in salary, but he deserves it. In my opinion, the best right outside linebacker in the game. His overall number is 90 right now, but that'll be up to 94 no time again as the season progresses. Onwards and upwards. Here's the big question mark. We got Gratz, we got Greenwood, we got McCray. 3 cats who all need new contracts, all of whom want $8 million a season. This will be the biggest question mark for us. With the last contract, I did make one more re-signing in the defensive tackle category. Von Martin wanted a 1-year deal for $1.1 million. I gave him exactly that. Very cheap for a guy his talent level. I guess his demand is going down just because he's 30 years old now. Which is great. Actually less than we're paying him this year to come back. The last re-signings we made, Jeremy Harris at the bottom here, he re-signed 3 years, $4.9 million, less than $500,000 guaranteed. So he's very easy to trade or cut. Also, as you can see up top, $4.6 million, our cap penalty for this year. Most of that money coming from the $3 million of Thaddeus Gibson's number we had to eat. The benefit of that, though, is that number replenishes itself next year. So next year we won't have to worry about any of that money on the books, and we'll have the full cap to spend unless we want to trade or release somebody next season who has a lot of guaranteed money, but I don't think that'll be the case. Anyways, Harris re-signed. Last one to re-sign, Josh Evans, backup free safety. He re-signed for 4 years, $5.8 million. Very nice contract, in my opinion. $1 million of that guaranteed. The only player who I negotiated with who turned down a contract was, boom, Denard Robinson. I offered Denard Robinson $7.2 million over 4 years, 1.2 of which was guaranteed. He turned it down. He wanted, his wish was to get $8.8 million. I offered him 7.2. Obviously lowballing, but you got to start low when you negotiate with these guys, especially guys who want to come back, as every other guy did, including huge names like Cyprin, Jokel, Gooden, Williams, etc. Guys who would have gotten huge amounts of money on the open market. But Robinson turned down my very first offer. He really does not want to be back, and so hopefully Bari Suber can come along for us quickly. If not, we can overpay in free agency next year because we don't have anything to save the money for. Ridley, who knows? Maybe he could have an explosive season this year. But Denard Robinson, unfortunately, in his 4th and final year with the Jags, turning down, not interested in coming back, and he's not good enough for us to franchise tag him, so he will not be back. But that's the only sad story. Not bad, considering we had such a ridiculous number of guys to bring back. We get 8 contracts inked by week 1. Also, spoiler alert for next week, we win week 1. Had to simulate that game to get this stats to you guys. So that's that. That's the offseason. That's a ton of information I just threw at you guys. Oh, my goodness. But, man, is it ever exciting to have this campaign about to get underway. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. Again, we got a huge monkey off our back last season by starting the year, or by finishing the year with the Super Bowl loss. Unfortunately, it was a loss. Would have been great if it was a win, but the pressure is kind of off in terms of getting to the Super Bowl in the 5 years because we already did it in the first 3 years. We got 2 more seasons, and it's Super Bowl or bust for those 2 seasons. Super Bowl or bust, baby. We got to get that championship. There's no other reason to save money. There's no other reason to develop guys because we only got 2 more years left. We have to shift all of our preconceived notions about what we got to do to get things done. No longer is it about finding young talent and bringing it along. I mean, we'll still do that to a degree because that's always at least semi-important for building up good backups, etc. But man, it's this year to a degree, and especially next year, totally going to be about bringing in high-priced free agents, getting as many under the cap as possible, and just making that last one final push. Not unlike, for example, the Denver Broncos did in real life this offseason, bringing in, hey, DeMarcus Ware. What a coincidence. And, a bunch of big-name free agents, and it's super exciting for me. Let me know what you guys think of all the changes. I know it's a ton of change to get through in a short amount of time, but this video, again, already over the limit I was hoping to keep it to. So thank you very much for joining me. Leave me a note in the comments. What do you guys think about the team? Good, bad, or you're just not sure? If you have a question, don't feel free to ask that. And until next time, thank you so much for joining me. I am Tuxedo T-Shirt. Enjoy both of our PDFs for this video. And until next time, I'm out.